Right, here's the first video in the new technique exercise series that I have on my Patreon. And the idea behind this series is to share some of the most beneficial technique exercises that I've come across and used throughout my, the years I've been playing. And also whenever I come across something new, I will share it here, right? And a lot of this stuff, it's like things that I come up with myself, some things I've learned from classical guitar, some things from violin, all different sources. And of course I will credit the source if I know where I got it from, right? So the first exercise we have here is really helpful for your alternate picking, and especially when it comes to 3-note per string scales, when you play more than 2 strings at a time. And what I mean by that is that a lot of my students have not that many problems when they do this. Just 2 strings, right? But whenever they're gonna cross to the 3rd string, whether that's down here, up here, whatever it is, they run into problems because if you do it like this, you can get away with either outside picking or inside picking, depending on what pick stroke you start on. But if you do 3 strings, you can't really do that. So because then you have to do both, and a lot of people have problems with either, they're usually better at one, so whenever they encounter the other one, they run into sort of like a wall. And this exercise will really help with that, but it will also help with overall picking accuracy, and yes, overall synchronization, if you practice correctly. Alright, so I'm gonna base this on the 4 3-note per string fingerings that I use, and what I mean by that is I'm using 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, right? And the reason for that is that any 3-note per string scale you can play on the guitar will have any one of these combinations, right? And they might be stretchier or whatever, but if you can play 1, 2, 4 like this, it's not that much harder to play 1, 2, 4 like this, right? Because the coordination is the same. So that's the idea behind that. And the actual pattern here then, it's probably easier to visualize this exercise if we look at it from like a small 3-string, 3-note per string pattern. So we basically have four scale positions then, like this. So we got the 1, 2, 3. I'm just here on the 5th position. So then we got 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4. Right? And the actual pattern then is gonna be the last note of the lowest string. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, we'll play 3, and then we're gonna play 1, 2, 3 on the B string, and then the first note on the high string. So we got a 5-note pattern: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's really good because that means that it's an uneven number, and when we play that with alternate picking, we go down, up, down, up, down. And when we restart it, we have to restart with an upstroke. And then we go up, down, up. And then we're back to our starting point with a downstroke again. And that's beneficial because then you get to work on both variations in just a single exercise. You don't need to play, you don't need to do the entire exercise and then restart it and do it with an upstroke, right? And that's really good. So the sequence here is just going through these fingerings. I repeat it twice, like this. So I go to 1, 2, 3. Then straight into 1, 2, 4. So that will be 4, 1, 2, 4, 1. Then 1, 3, 4. That will be 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. And then the last one, 2, 3, 4. So we got 4, 2, 3, 4, 2. Right? So we do each of these fingerings twice. Right? And when we've done that, we restart here on this note because we're gonna descend and do the same fingerings, just descending. So 1, 2, 3. So that will be 1, and then 3, 2, 1, 3. Then we do that twice, and then we go to 1, 2, 4, which will be 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, and then 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, 3, 4, 3, 1, 4, and then finally 2, 3, 4, which will be 2, 4, 3, 2, 4. So that will sound like this. right? And basically, you shouldn't do what I did here, because then you should do it again, just 1 fret higher. So you would go like this, 2, 3, 4. And so on. And that's one way of working on it. So you just do the entire fretboard up and down on this string loop. Or you can just start down here and do the ascending version first. So you go... and then you just start over on the A string. And go D string, and then you're up to the G string again. And then you do the descending one. Same thing. So you go... right, so you keep going like that, and then you move up 1 fret at a time. So either way works, depending on what you think, you know, feels more fun or more logical. And as you can hear, this doesn't sound very good. And also another thing when it comes to this, you shouldn't practice it as fast as I did here. And you know, I didn't play it blazingly fast or anything, but when I practice this stuff myself, and this goes with most of the technique exercises that I'm going to show you. If there's some, you know, I will always tell you how to practice it anyway, but most of them will be really slow and really controlled, and really focusing on getting a good tone on every note that I play, and basically trying to play perfectly, which means that you need to lower the tempo a lot. And one practice technique that I use for this is the transition time. And if you check the tags, you'll find the transition time video, and you can check out what that means. But basically it means that I'm playing at like quarter notes at between 60 to 80 BPMs. This is something like this. And when I do that, I try to make sure that I prepare each finger. I prepare the next finger when I play the previous finger. What I mean by that is when I play this finger, I make sure that this finger is prepared. Right? And prepared doesn't mean that I'm on the fret or on the string, but in the vicinity of it. So I'm not up here or something. So play this one, and I'm here, and then I play that one. I make sure that the second finger's there. I make sure that the third finger's in place, and then when I play the third finger, I make sure that my index finger is in place, and when I play the index finger, I make sure that my third finger goes down to close to this note, right? So that's really important, and that's really hard to do if you play too quickly. So that's another benefit of doing this really slow practice, because that will really improve your synchronization like nothing else. Alright? And as you see here, there's a lot of string skipping here as well, so which is of course is really good for your right hand. The way that I want you to practice this, and before you go like, oh, this sounds like shit, I don't want to do this, just do this. It's not a challenge, but it's a suggestion. Start it down here on the first fret. Do it however you want, you know, do everything ascending and back, or you do it on one string group. Whatever way you do it, just make sure that you do it all the way up the fretboard and down the fretboard again, at that slow tempo where you don't make any mistakes at all. I mean, if you slip sometimes, sure, but if you keep slipping, you know, if you make more mistakes than 1 per minute, you're practicing way too fast. So aim for no mistakes at all, right? And then do that all the way up, all the way down, and then you can sort of make a decision. Okay, did this improve my technique noticeably? Or is it, you know, did nothing happen, or, you know, is it not worth spending the time doing this stuff? Then by all means, don't do it. But at least do that, because sometimes it's hard to know if something's going to be beneficial or not before you actually give it a decent shot. All right? And that will go with all of these technique exercises that I'm going to go through, because most of them will sound like shit. But again, the point is not to get this up to speed like a lick. It's more about focusing on that technique and really getting that as solid as possible. And you know, there's a reason why you know, super virtuoso classical guitar players and violinists and piano players, all instrumentalists, spend time on these basic technique exercises, because it really helps your overall technique and will really help you when you want to play music. So that's why, you know, I don't do this because it's fun. I do it because I know that it will give really quick and noticeable results in my overall playing, right? So with that said, hope you have, you know, as much fun as you can with this, but most of all, hope you really try it out, and post below whatever result you got, and if you think it sucks or if you have any questions or whatever, just post it below and I'll try to get you an answer as soon as possible. Yeah, otherwise, see you in the next one.